Hang on. Did I get the light on? Hang on. There we go. I don't feel like using a ring light today, so I hope y'all don't mind. I don't look the greatest. Winter does not agree with me all the time. And I'll talk a little bit about that. You'll notice if you're live, I did not title the chat because I really don't know what to call it. It's been a few days. Let's catch up real quick. Sammy and little girl are eating their peanut butter. So that's what they're doing right now. I was going to do a screen share, which I can't do on the phone, but I was going to do one with my laptop. However, I have several things pulled up that I don't want to close out. And when I do that and I try to go live, because I'm sharing a router with my son and spouse, it doesn't always want to stay streaming. So we're going to do this one like this, but I did want to do the screen share. So there might be a second part to this where I actually share the websites that I'm going to go through, but I will link them below. But we're going to start out this chat with just a, hey, how are you? I hope your Thanksgiving was well. I hope that your weather, the weather in your area is accommodating to you and your lifestyle. That usually never happens. So I hope that you're acclimating well. Today it is, my disclaimers are in the description box. I am not giving advice to anyone, but I am an expert on my own temple, my own body, and so I share what I do, and that's all. This is spring water with some baking soda, which is, but it's good for pH, which I need because I have issues, health issues that I do believe are directly related to spiritual things. And if you're new here, we talk about these things a lot. So we're going to touch on today, we're going to touch on not current events, we're going to touch on current times, and we're going to touch on Gen X, which is my generation. So I'm going to speak to that a little bit. And an epidemic, not a medical epidemic, but a spiritual epidemic that seems to be taking place with estrangement and Gen X and our children and or grandchildren and so on and so forth, and our parents in some cases. And I do believe this is directly related to the system that is set up here that we are born into. So let's talk about that a little bit. Hi, I'm Jen. Be like a support group. I'm a Gen Xer, and so I grew up 80s, 90s. It took a village to raise this child. I'm talking about a variety of things today, so you might want to go back to the beginning and start there because I don't want to keep repeating because the video will stay up. But we're gonna start on current times and this phenomenon that I'm noticing with estrangement and Gen X and maybe a little holiday loneliness. Oddly enough, we're going to segue into something spiritual, which is going to be, a lot of people will probably not like this, but we're going to talk about the Holy Spirit and or transmigration, because if you're new here, it's my belief that something took place on a massive scale several years ago, and it attributed to these changes that we're seeing in people. It's easier to talk about now because more people are noticing it. It's not something that is just on the fringe anymore. Everyone is dealing with changes in their life, their lifestyle, their partners sometimes, their relationship status. Politically, people are in disagreement. Religiously, people are in disagreement. And this is causing rifts in families. And I think it's you know, it's something that we should be open with each other about. And when we can, support one another in our growth and encourage one another. And so I want to speak to that just a little bit. What does that say? No, this has nothing to do with anything like that. And I can only speak from my perspective. I am a repentant, wretched sinner. I do know that some women have been out of control. I'm going to delete you if you're racist. I don't go for racist people here. I'm not racist. I don't deal well with that at all. I have a variety of people in my family. I'm a woman. If you're going to hate, this is about positive dialogue and being solution-centered and not problem-focused, because we have the news media that is problem-focused. If you're about divisiveness, and I know, again, this will shrink my viewership, but that's fine. if what you're seeking is divisiveness and argumentativeness and that type of thing, you should go to another channel. You don't want to be at this channel because I'm not going to try and divide people any more than they already are. I am going to speak, I can only speak from my perspective. I can't speak about men so much. I can only speak about my experience with them. But, you know, men can speak to their, you know, issues or whatever. I can only speak to like how my behavior has affected my family and the men in my family and how their behavior has affected me, right? But I can't speak for them. I can't be in their shoes and they can't be in mine. And so somewhere we have to have this bridge of dialogue where we stop this divisiveness. Because I mean, frankly, I've been on YouTube since 2012 with my other channel and just watching and observing. And I've seen a lot, right? And I've seen the comments, I've seen, you know, realize, like I've seen all of these things redundantly over and over and over again. And can I just be real? Like, aren't you tired of going to these channels and having it be this WWE style, let's all come to blows type of mentality? Why can't women and men have a decent, respectful dialogue back and forth without hating on each other? Why can't women be more supportive without gossiping about one another or highlighting our bad behaviors, right? Realize, R-E-A-L-I-S-E, realize, R-E-A-L-L-I-E-S, realize, R-E-A-L-E-Y-E-S. Like, I'm just saying that's how long I've been on YouTube. And so I've seen and heard so much. I'm tired of the divisiveness. There are a few channels, old school truthers, that I do remain sub to, but most of them at this point in time are just going over the same old things over and over and over again. I want us to talk about solutions. How do we combat this loneliness? How do we bridge the gap to try and stop this estrangement from happening before it occurs? If it's already happened to you or me, how do we move past that? You know what I'm saying? Thank you. I appreciate that. That's very nice of you. Jesus is Lord. Nah, sorry. I don't care for Trump. Like, I'm going to be really honest here. Okay, so it's my belief that around 2018, 2019, something happened on a massive scale to people. Now, I've rent over this ad nauseum about the rapture doctrine, because I wasn't introduced to that. I didn't know what it was. But I did see, because I'm not glued to one paradigm. When I consume media or content, I go through every paradigm: religious, entertainment, rap, country. Like, I look at the spectrum so that I can get a broad scope, a bigger picture, a bigger idea of what is happening, and not have to have some media pundit, some talking head who gets paid to like lie to me, tell me like this is how it's going to be or this is how it is. Like, you know, I'm not a Democrat either. I don't vote. And a lot of people will call me irresponsible for that, and I would beg to differ. So again, instead of like arguing with me or not watching, why don't we have a dialogue about this? Later, you don't have to be here. See, name calling though. Name calling, but who was the, I can't. Read my question. Have you thought about adopting a vegan lifestyle to reduce unnecessary harm to animals? Yes, and I do mostly eat vegan. I had an issue the other day. I had cheese. I feel terrible about it, but I did have cheese. I've been really low on vitamins, and my body doesn't absorb vitamins when I take them in capsules, so sometimes that doesn't work for me. I'm still working that out. Do you think your opinion matters to anyone, or anything you ever do would ever change anything? You don't have to be here either. I think that we can all change our own little corners of the world. We might not be able to change the whole world singular, like individually, right? But we can change ourselves. And that causes a ripple effect. That causes a butterfly effect. By changing you, you change the people around you, you change your community, and you affect change throughout society in that way on a small scale, and it grows out. So yes, I do believe that people can change. You know, thank you for being honest. Absolutely. Can you do it? Thank you for being honest. I wish you all the best. Thank you. Mostly I am vegan now, but I do, I had cheese the other day and I think it had been months since I had had anything, but that seems to be, so I seriously don't think any of our opinions matter. This isn't about opinions. If you really think that, then why have a dialogue? Why have friends? Why have a life? Why have a family? It's all about communion with each other, sharing new experiences with each other, supporting each other. This whole journey is about love and exploration. That's what life, I think right now where I'm at in my journey, that's what I think it's about. I delete bots. I don't allow them to stay. I just get rid of them. So now what we're going to talk about a little bit, what I want to speak to is Gen X and this estrangement that seems to be happening with our parents and our children. Now, on the surface level, on the basic societal level, on the human level, right? I'm not speaking spiritual now, I'm speaking human. On the human level, it seems to be directly related to the things that the internet is calling resets. I know that from and I want to talk to you about some of these weird occurrences because maybe you'll have experiences with that too. My dad could not tell me, he was big on like, you treat the maintenance man like you treat the CEO. You treat everybody the same until they give you a reason to treat them differently, right? He was real like into instilling some type of moral compass in me, but I wasn't exposed to him often enough. But he didn't have a lot of stories. I would ask him, about fishing with my grandpa. Who taught him how to fish? Why didn't he go to college? What did he do in his school days? Just things. Names of friends even he had when he was growing up. And there was one, a neighbor. But for the most part, it was very quiet. And then again, something more recent. My spouse and his best friend, I noticed when he started coming around and all this weirdness happened, they both had the same childhood stories. I don't know if you all have seen it yet or if you've heard of it. Don't Worry, Darling, that movie about being like in the Matrix from a different perspective and from like the Stepford Wives perspective. It's kind of like that. Like so many of us that I've talked to even here that have emailed me, so many of us like have never seen our birth certificate. We only know one side of our family. Then we get married and that person only knows one side of their family. Just chill. This is just a conversation. Weirdness, like strange things happening in life. Like if you actually think the last 10 years have been normal, again, you're not paying attention. So anyways, that is something that we have in common across the board is we all have blurry or fuzzy background stories. And it's strange, it's different. All right. Hey, Jay, what's up? Later. That's probably my spouse is the sad thing. He has nothing better to do than harass me and attack me. That's the life I lead. That's what we're talking about. Up until 2018, even in 2012, things did get different, but we've been on this steady decline of how we treat each other. Look how you're speaking. You don't know me. I could be your sister. I could be your mother. I could be your aunt. I could be your grandmother. I could be your daughter. This is how you treat the women that you know? I don't care what color I am, what religion I am. You don't know me. I don't know you as a human being made in the image of God with a face. As a sentient conscious being, I'm going to treat you with respect when we first meet. Do you see what I'm saying? I don't care what color you are. I don't care what gender you are. I don't care what your sexual preference is. I really don't care. But I do believe that we have to have some type of common moral compass to act as the glue to hold our society together. Because what you're seeing now is the glue that holds society is coming apart. And that's because certain people at CERN are messing with the glue that holds the universe apart. I shared a video today, somebody talking about the Bible, about how it's all, and they explained it perfectly because I'm not great at this. There's patterns in life, right? And they all echo outward like a ripple. You see the rock drop in the water and there's this ripple. Patterns repeat and repeat and repeat. Spiritually, scientifically, metaphysically, at CERN, if you understand the words that they use, okay? What ions are, what all these things are that they're playing with. Atoms, um, the LHC, all of the things that they are doing. If you understand the technical jargon and look at the definitions, and we've gone over this on the channel too, what they are doing is messing with the material that holds the universe together. We should not be okay with that. Regardless of what happens, we might not be able to stop certain people from doing things because we all have most of us have free will here. However, we need to make it known to the universe, as some would say, to God, creator, maker, even to just our internal spirit. We need to make it known that we do not consent to that. Consent is a big topic on my channel. I talk about that a lot. And I think there are certain things out there now that they are pushing, even in the truth community, unfortunately, that they're pushing for the fear factor, and because they want you seeing it and knowing it. Because once you're aware of it, if you don't rebuke it, or if you don't say, no, that's not true, or whatever, you're passively consenting. This is why certain things are put in front of us. It's to mock us, and it's to gain our passive consent. They don't care about their karma. They already know their karma is poop. Like they know this. They do nothing but harm to people. Why would they care about their karma? They don't show us because they have to. They show us to gain our passive consent. Once you watch it, if you're aware of it and you don't do something either against it in some type of way, even just verbally, you are passively consenting. Now, back to the voting thing. And this is what I'm going to explain. I'm going to explain to you why I don't vote. Because a lot of people will say that's irresponsible. You're not, women fought for the right, blah, blah, blah. This place is all about consent, okay? So from the spiritual standpoint, first of all, as a female, the only person whose name that I want to be under or in communion with, and that's barely, is someone I would marry, the person that I'm married to, right? I personally don't think I know enough about politics to vote, number one. Number two, it doesn't matter what we vote for. They've already picked who's gonna be the figurehead. What matters, again, is gaining your signature. And this points back to 2018, 2019, and what I think is happening with people even now. And this is why, for whatever reason, it points to Trump as being, in some type of way, even if he's just the proxy, is him being the Antichrist, even if he's just the figurehead for the actual Antichrist. Because these elements, again, they echo. It's like an onion, like Shrek. These things hide. The Antichrist doesn't want you to know it's here or who it is. Right. Social media has been a severe detriment. And you're going to say, well, you're using it now. Yes, I am. Because it's the only way I know that I can try to affect change on a small scale. Because I don't know people. And the people I know in my town, you got to understand, like, God called me back in a really radical way in 2018. And I had fallen from grace. I had sinned badly. But that sin was also perpetuated by people around me. And when I say in 2019, I didn't believe in the rapture. But something overtook my family to the point where they behaved in ways that they'd never behaved before. Very openly abusing me and doing harm to me. And a woman knows her partner, right? Most men do too, if you actually pay attention and you observe. The people that I love started talking differently. They started using different words. They don't remember things that they used to know. And their hygiene has severely declined. They don't eat the same things that they used to eat. Neither do I, right? Like, I've changed too. But for whatever reason, the fear of God was put into me in 2018, and it propelled me to repent. Other people, it did not. And I think that you're going to think this is weird, but I think voting had a lot to do with that. When you sign your name on a piece of paper in this world, and you put it under an agreement, right? You're coming into agreement with this man who's a stranger to you. You don't even know him. For the next 4 years, you agree with everything he does. You're going to have to answer for that. You're going to have to say why you were in with him, why you were his wingman to your maker or to your own conscience eventually. You're going to have to say, wow, I helped to bring this in. I think that when you physically materially sign your name down with another human being, that does a spiritual thing to you. And you don't have to listen to me. Look around. You tell, I mean, if you have a better idea, I would love to hear it. People have changed and not for the better. And they're not even, it's like watching people who are pretending to be people. I don't know how to explain it, man. My mother was a vampire. My mother was a psychic vampire. She wanted to use my gifts all the time. Talk about, here's a Ouija board. You want to get the lottery numbers, Jen? No, I don't, Mom. She didn't like that. That was a bad... Oh, boy, you're gone. You're so gross. What is wrong with you people? Like, you're not... It's disgusting. How do I get rid of that person? Hide. Okay. Define Matthew 27:46. That was the first video